You know when you go on social media and you see people posting baby pictures and all the babies are looking so calm, peaceful, and happy, and you think to yourself, wow, that baby looks so happy. Those amazing parents must be having the time of their lives. When in reality, this is actually what the baby looks like most of the time, and this is what the parents actually look like most of the time. Say hi, everyone. Hi. Hey, everyone. Johnny and Zion here. And somebody is about 7 weeks old now. If you haven't seen my previous video, make sure to go check it out because I talk about the scariest and most amazing moment of my life, the moment that Zion was born, and my life changed instantly. But to be completely honest with you, even though I had the most amazing bonding experience with my son the moment he was born, that still didn't stop me from totally screwing up less than 24 hours later and feeling like a total failure during my first month of being a new dad. And that's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. This is what Zion looked like after he was born, right when we brought him home from the hospital. And this is what he looks like 4 weeks later. He's growing so fast every single week, it's so crazy how fast time flies. Now I see why every parent has told me to try to enjoy every single moment, even the most stressful, tiring, and frustrating times, because time flies by so fast. And this is an area that I've failed miserably in. I guess that's why everyone says the same thing, because it's actually so hard to do. But before I get ahead of myself, let me back up for a second. So when Zion was born, he was actually the happiest and most content baby ever. He was just chilling there looking around, and that first night I was totally on cloud 9. Mommy is healthy and safe, baby is healthy and safe. The first day was totally awesome too. Zion was still super chill and happy, and he even got his first bath, which is one of our favorite memories. I didn't really have many expectations going into fatherhood because I had no idea what to expect. But because Zion was so chill right when he was born, I thought to myself, hey, maybe this parenting thing isn't gonna be so hard after all. But towards the end of that first day is when things started getting bumpy, because that's when Zion started to cry, like a lot and non-stop. And this wasn't your normal cry, it was like screaming till your vocal cords start to crack crying. And I was totally clueless. I didn't know anything about babies. I didn't grow up around babies. I didn't take care of babies. I've always felt kind of uncomfortable around babies, especially loud, crying babies. And this was such a unique sense of pressure that I've never felt before. There's something really freaky and weird about hearing your own child cry. It's like God designed it to be extra loud, noticeable, and annoying so that there's literally no way that you can ignore it or focus on anything else literally except your screaming baby. And to be honest, it wasn't even a full 24 hours yet since Zion was born that I started to get impatient, upset, and frustrated with him. Towards the end of that first day, every time I tried to swaddle him, instead of relaxing, calming down, and falling asleep, he would just kick it loose, break out, and start crying every single time. This started to get really frustrating because literally I was trying to do exactly the same thing the nurses and doctors were, and they were able to get him to calm down and fall asleep. But for some reason, every time I did it, he would just get frustrated, break loose, and start screaming and crying, and I had no idea what to do or why he was so upset. For the first couple weeks, it just seemed like things were getting more and more difficult with Zion's eating and sleeping. Newborn babies need to be fed every 2 to 3 hours, but Zion's feedings would sometimes take up to an hour, and soothing him and putting him to sleep would take up to another hour, and by the time he would actually fall asleep, we would have to wake him up to eat again.
Time to wake up.
Later on, we found out that Zion had a tongue tie, which actually caused him to have a really tough time learning how to eat because he couldn't really move his tongue. And this kind of explained why he was struggling to eat enough early on and why he was so screamy and fussy and couldn't sleep for very long periods of time. Looking back as parents, there's definitely things that we would have done differently, but as newbie parents, we were literally just in survival mode and practically just zombies. Eventually, after a couple weeks, we started to learn his cues and understand what his different cries meant, which literally helps so much and makes the process a lot easier to enjoy and a lot more doable too. Post-feeding blues? And that's pretty much the reality of the first couple weeks of learning how to be new parents. And to be completely honest with you, I've already lost it so many times and felt like a total failure as a dad. Because even though I had the most amazing bonding experience with my son the moment he was born, that still didn't stop me from being impatient, upset, and angry with him. When you see people post pictures or videos on social media, most of the time all you're seeing are the highlights and the happy moments. But what you don't see people normally posting about are the late nights and the emotional breakdowns and the frustrating moments when you just want to pull your hair out. And the reality for me was learning how to be a new dad was way more challenging and difficult than I could have ever expected. We're trapped at home during COVID-19 in a one-bedroom condo with a screaming newborn, waking up all the neighbors in our thin-walled building, unable to sleep, and totally frustrated and confused at what our baby wants and needs. And what I realized was that my initial expectations based off the first 24 hours after he was born were just totally unrealistic, and they ended up setting me up for total disappointment and failure. And really, this dramatic story isn't really unique at all, because the reality is, this is what all parents have to go through.
Closing! The point is, everyone's hitting the sack. Everyone's getting the sleep that they lack.
I feel like God designed parenting to be one of the most humbling experiences that you could ever go through in life. And I wanted to make this video to encourage any other dads that might be out there that are struggling or feeling like they're all alone in one of the biggest life changes that you'll ever go through. I just want you to know that you're not alone, and parenting is hard work. The responsibility to love, care, and raise a little human who's completely helpless and totally dependent on you is a scary, huge responsibility. And obviously, at some point, you're gonna fail, you're gonna mess up, and you're gonna lose it. Most of us who've been a dad for longer than a day have already blown the opportunity to be examples of perfection to our children. But having blown that opportunity, we now have the opportunity to give to our children the gift of a growing dad, and to give to our wife the gift of a growing and transforming husband. I heard this from my pastor at church a couple years ago, and he was trying to encourage the fathers that one of the greatest gifts that you can give to your children is that of a growing, transforming, and repentant father. And that's one of the habits that I'm really trying to start early on with Zion, to confess my failures and mistakes to him and to apologize and ask for his forgiveness. Even though he can't say anything now or remember anything or even stay awake when I'm talking to him, I hope that by building these habits now, someday when he grows up and he's old enough to realize that his dad's not perfect, at least he'll know and remember. I hope that I was man enough to confess my weakness and failures to him and apologize and ask for forgiveness. Anyways, that's all I wanted to share in this update video of me learning how to be a new dad during the first month of this grand new journey. And if you made it this far in the video, I just really wanted to thank you for taking the time to listen to these stories that I'm trying to put on YouTube, and commenting and liking and subscribing to my channel. This is really out of my comfort zone, so I really appreciate the support and the time that you would take just to show your love and support to me. And so if you made it this far into the video, comment down below and say what's up, and we'll see you next time in the next video. See you next time. Say bye, Zion. Bye. Bye, everyone. Subscribe to our channel.